Hi, my name's Barrie and this is my partner Tony, and together we're going to tell you about how we became parents.
And we've been told we're not natural, but we are. We're going to have twins, a boy and a girl, Aspen and Sappho.
We want you to know why we did this and how we did this, because I never saw Tony and I as anything but the norm, really.
And what it means to us both to have a family of our own after being together for 11 years.
We were brought up on council estates in Manchester. It's where all our friends and family still live.
And that's where we met back in 1988.
It was stunning, absolutely stunning.
We want you to meet Tracy. She's the egg donor who donated the eggs and made our dreams possible.
I saw them both. I thought, oh my God, they're so cute.
And Rosalind, the lady who actually gave birth to the twins.
No, he did. She did.
So, this is the story of how, like any other couple, Barrie and Tony decided to have children. Is this a sign of the times or a threat to the family as we know it?
A homosexual couple who caused controversy by paying a woman in the United States to have surrogate twins.
They paid a surrogate mother to have twins for them using their sperm and eggs from another donor mother. Aspen and
Butler, the Bishop of Southwark, said it was a selfish decision on the part of the gay couple.
The tabloids called them the gay millionaires who had spent a small fortune to have children by a surrogate mother in America. Rosalind, the birth mother of their children, is 5 months pregnant, and Barrie and Tony have travelled to California to see her.
Hi. How are you?
The fact that we're two gay guys doesn't make any difference. You look at a straight guy and ask him how he feels, and we don't feel any other way. And we're at the stage now where our family is the next natural, and we've been told we're not natural, but we are. It's the next natural progression for us, so we want a family so badly that we'd do anything to acquire one, really. God, you are so big now.
Okay, well, I'm really going to get bigger, so you'll have to quit saying that pretty soon.
No, that's a good thing, though. That means that they're growing and growing.
Yeah, they're growing and growing.
Let's have a feel of Aspen. Where is he there?
Yeah. And he just kicked it right after you pulled your hand off. And this is Saffron.
Barrie and Tony may think parenthood is the next natural step in their relationship, but the way they've been forced to go about it has cost Barrie and Tony a small fortune.
Did you just feel it?
£200,000 being bandied around in all the press and what have you. And I would say, for what we've spent on trips to the US, hotel accommodation, subsistence fees, you add all that up as well as the surrogacy process, we probably spent more than that, haven't we? That's quite a conservative figure, really. So, but we'd spend everything we had to get children. I saw you move then. Did you see it move?
Yeah,
That's 'cause I moved my finger.
No,
I saw
he
it move.
kicked.
Actually moved. I saw it. There, just
Tony and I were brought up on council estates. If we have to sell our homes, and we do own several homes, we'll sell every one of them to achieve what we're trying to achieve, and that's to have our family.
Yeah, our family means more to us
If
than...
we have to go and live back on a council estate, then so be it.
This is home for Barrie and Tony. They were born and brought up on council estates in Manchester. When he made his fortune, Barrie, like Tony, offered to buy his parents a bigger home. But Mum and Dad preferred to stay here, near their extended family on the estate.
So this is my mum and dad's house. That's my Auntie Susan's house, my mum's sister. Next door used to be Auntie Ellen's house, but she moved out. And Auntie Rosie's next door, so that's my dad's sister. Next door is Andrea, upstairs at the window. That's my cousin Andrea, Auntie Rosie's daughter. Facing the other cousin is my grandmother on this side, so she's 5 doors down. And then 2 doors on from that's Auntie Pam. Then the next street, my sister Carol lives with her 5 children. And just on the end house over there, my sister Debbie lives with her 4. And I want our children to have the same type of, I don't know, closeness with the family that I certainly had when I was growing up. And my parents always said to me, you know, the most important thing is family. You know what? I've had enough of you. My mum and dad were 17 and 18 when they had me. I was their first child, you know. So my mum and dad have always been like a brother and sister to me. There was never ever a problem with that.
Well, you get something in his mind, that's it, you know. Yeah, by hook or by crook, he'll find a way, you know. No, it's not just a whim, what they're doing. I mean, they've sat down and talked about it and thought about it, and they know the consequences, what's going to happen when they get the children, you know. I mean, the lives will change dramatically.
Right, Ayla.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, come in.
They love children, both of them. Yeah. They do. I don't see why they shouldn't have children. It's not wrong for two people to share a life together, is it? No matter whether the man and woman are two men or two girls. It doesn't mean because love is love, it doesn't have to stick with man and woman.
Although they lived on council estates only a few miles apart, Barrie and Tony grew up in very different ways.
I was an awful teenager, and my mum will tell you that. I was awful. I was awful to her. I was so rude at times to her. And my dad was working all the hours God sent just to put food on the table and pay the rent. I couldn't wait when I was 15 to walk out that school gate and say, fuck you. And I was out of there, like so many of my friends did. And we just, I don't know. School was just a place that we had to go. Plus it was a place where we were getting free school meals. So my mum was like, you're going to school. Even if it's for your free dinner, you're going to school. And we went into school, we got our free meal, then all afternoon we spent in town, mainly shoplifting. We'd bring our haul back to the estate and we'd sell it if we hadn't already had a shopping list of people on the estate of things to get. We had a new outfit on every night, we had new shoes every night, it was just amazing.
It's 8 o'clock, I'm Simon Cadman. The gay age of consent is almost certain to be reduced to 16. MPs have voted overwhelmingly in favour.
Barrie knew he was gay when he was quite young. His social life was based around Canal Street in Manchester's gay district, where he and Tony now own a flat.
It's so weird, because I used to make friends with some of the rent boys and things out here, because they were all about the same age as me and my friends. And we used to just, congregate in groups and things. That was so cool.
See, I didn't have any of that. Because I didn't even come out until I met Barrie, until I was 23. So I didn't have any at all. I used to go all the straight bars, all the straight clubs. Lived this very straight lifestyle. Chatting up girls, because your friends chat girls and everything. Going to the football down at Old Trafford every weekend with my dad. And then I met Barrie and everything changed.
Oh no, it's so wet!
I tried, right up to being 23, to be straight. I tried, I couldn't have tried any harder. I was close to marriage, I almost married to be straight, because that was what was expected. And
like so many other men marry, because they think it's what's expected.
Because the whole thing would have been a sham.
They're not gay by choice. They're gay at birth. If they're gay from the word go. It's in the genes, isn't it? If you'd have told me when he was 10, 11, 12, it wouldn't have mattered to me anyway. He was mine. I brought him into the world and I loved him and I still love him.
Barrie and Tony met by chance at a filling station when Tony stopped to ask for directions.
Did I find him attractive? Yeah, very. He was, well, he is now. He was stunning, absolutely stunning. Really nice, really attractive. And it was at that point that I knew what I really wanted. I was infatuated with Barrie when we first met. Absolutely infatuated with him. I'd have laid down, I would now. I mean, your infatuation goes through to a love and then a long-term love, and I'd die for him now. I'd jump out the window tonight if it meant saving his life. But at that time, even that week, I'd have laid down and let him walk on me. And you did sometimes, when we first met.
Oh, hell yeah.
You took me for granted, and I just took it because I was absolutely infatuated with it. Things you do when you like people.
When you like people?
When you love, well,
oh.
I didn't love you then, but I thought I did.
A few days after that first meeting, they went clubbing. Then came the moment to say goodbye.
It was one of those, awful movie moments when two people are sort of stood together and one of them comes over and you think, and the other one's thinking, shit, don't kiss me. Just don't kiss me. And I saw this thing coming towards me and I was backing off. Then he must have got the picture and he sort of stopped and he looked into my eyes and he said, I think we both know what we want, don't we? And I went, no, what's that?
They're a pair together, they are, honestly. Yeah. They're made for each other.
Yeah. I wouldn't change it, I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change Tony and I wouldn't change Barrie, and I really hope that they're together for life.
The woman who's just become the most senior family law judge in England and Wales has said she supports adoption by homosexual couples.
in her first public statement since taking up her new
8 years later, Barrie and Tony bought a house in an Essex village. Like many other couples who'd been together that long, they decided they wanted a family. They tried, first of all, to adopt a child through the local council. It was a traumatic experience. After 2 years, they were told they would be considered as parents for a child with special needs.
We'd have had any child we could have given love to, we'd have had. Whether they were physically handicapped, mentally handicapped, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, you name it. We went to hospitals where these children were, didn't we?
They then introduced us to a young boy who they actually told us was looking for short-term fostering while his single-parent mother was desperately ill. He was a Down syndrome's boy, and they had us get so close to this child, and had led us to believe that there was a possibility that this was going to be the child that we would be looking after. Well, then Essex adoption panel I'd met and said, no, I'm sorry. You know, no.
No emotions, just shock. And after that, I would say for a good week after that, we went through turmoil, didn't we? We went through hell that week.
I was really awful to Tony, wasn't I? And I was really not very nice. And I found myself slipping into a depression and started seeing the doctor, and, you know, I was getting so depressed. And that depression lasted for a good 5 to 6 months for me. And during that time, I had gone absolutely ape with my credit cards. I absolutely spent up on every one of them. Absolutely. Amex, American Express, £12,000 in 2 weeks. I mean, I could do that now in one day, in one afternoon. I can afford to pay for it now. At that time, I couldn't have afforded to pay for it, but I was going mad.
I took it really personally. What's wrong with me? You know, why aren't I suitable to adopt a child? And I took it really bad, but we went through that, plus all the debt, and we went through major debt, didn't we? Discs, phone, keys.
It seemed the end of the road, but their commercial success would eventually give them another chance. Over the years, Barrie and Tony have set up a number of money-making schemes. Not all were successful, and at one point, Barrie declared himself bankrupt.
We did have a seedy chat line. Well, actually, we didn't have a seedy chat line. We had 3 seedy chat lines. A massage parlour. And just a general prostitution hotline. No. Oh, we did various things. Just, you know, bits and bats. Bit of this, bit of that.
4 years ago, they started a company of their own, testing anything from deodorants to nappies on humans, recruiting hundreds of people in local towns in Essex.
Did you do the nappy trial last week?
Yeah.
They're doing baby wipes. Do you use baby wipes?
Yeah.
How old is she now?
2.5.
Barrie has qualified as a social worker, and Tony is a science graduate and trained dermatologist. Both turned out to be astute businessmen. In the space of 2 years, they built the business up from nothing and sold it to an American rival for more than £4 million. The gay millionaires were born.
Now, everybody wants to do the fairy tale, set up a business, make loads of money, live comfortably, never have to worrying about work again, and retire early and all of that, and be able to afford to buy whatever you want, you know. It's nice to not have to go shoplifting anymore. Hello.
With their new fortune in the bank, they could do something else as well. They contacted an American surrogate agency specializing in helping gays and lesbians. That was 2 years ago.
San Francisco, wasn't it? What's the estimated time of arrival then for these two?
January 8th, but I'm sure it'll be before the end of the year.
Barrie and Tony finally have the pregnancy they want, but it's an anxious time. Rosalind has already had contractions, and she's on drugs to stop her going into labor.
Gonna have to believe me, partly gonna have to believe on this, but this is a scrotum right here.
It's the first time that Barrie and Tony have seen the children they have spent so much time and money trying to create.
Some of the headlines that we've read have been like, gay dads buying designer babies, and even that had crossed our mind at one stage. Do you remember we'd sat and discussed it? It sounds like you actually, you know, are designing your own child. You can choose your gene pool. The agencies were like, well, you know, do you want somebody who can play the piano or who's a brain surgeon who, you know, and it's like, well, that would be nice, but we wanted children, not...
That didn't really matter, did
Yeah.
it? It's just a case of you get the option. And if you get the option, then you choose from the option. So that's what we chose. So somebody who looks similar to Barry and I would be a better fit.
Rosalind is not Barry and Tony's first surrogate. Earlier attempts with another surrogate mother failed. For months, like so many other couples, they went through the traumas of failed pregnancies.
We went through a whole emotional roller coaster with the surrogate before Rosalind. To say emotionally draining is probably an understatement. It was the most difficult period I've ever been through in my whole life. You can't describe it. That the first time we did it, it's like the first time you put your lottery ticket on, everybody expects to win the jackpot. And then you get to the point, that was the first time, and it didn't work, and it was, oh well, maybe next time.
Rosalind became pregnant within weeks of their first meeting. Now Barry and Tony have just 3 months to wait until they have a family of their own. It's going to be a difficult time.
Hey.
Hi, dude. How you doing? Love you today.
Rosalind, the birth mother, lives near Modesto, 100 miles from San Francisco, with her 4 sons and husband, Chris. It's her second surrogacy. 2 years ago, she gave birth to twins for a single mother. She will receive well over £30,000 in fees and expenses as surrogate mother for Barry and Tony.
I could go to work anywhere and make minimum wage in our country. I think our country is like $5.50. And I could work however many hours you put into just the 9 months that, let's say, I'm carrying, not the months that you would put into trying to become pregnant or the recovery, and I would make more money. I mean, I don't feel at all like I'm selling a baby. I'm just being compensated for my time.
Rosalind and Chris's decision to have children for a gay couple was a new experience for the whole family. Their sons needed convincing.
They were a little bit unsure about how things were going to be, and, you know, is it, you know, what's the relationship going to be like? Do we have to hug them and things like that? And the boys all brought it upon themselves to have a close physical relationship with Barry and Tony.
Yeah.
One of our stipulations is that we were able to have a relationship with the couple, not only coming into the surrogacy, but afterwards, because we really want to, you know, have a little better idea of how the children are doing and how they're coming along. And it's almost an extended part of our family. It's aunt and uncle plus, and that to us is real important. And be godparents and things like that, that really means a lot to us. Because really the children wouldn't be here if it wasn't for us, and we really feel great that we're able to do that.
Not long now, guys. It's only a couple of months. The babies will be here.
I think it was really neat that I was there and I could say, I can do this. I know I can do this. And then they're going, yeah. I said, I know the whole cycle. I know everything that I have to do. If you've got the right eggs, I've got the right body.
Let's see who's at the door.
Barry and Tony met Tracy, the egg donor, through the surrogate agency.
Hello. How are you?
Oh, better now you're here.
Good.
Come in, everybody's in the other room.
Okay. Rosalind's here?
She is.
Ah! Hi. Oh my goodness. How are you?
Barry and Tony wanted a different egg donor and birth mother to reduce the legal claim either of the women might have over their babies. Tracy is married with 2 children of her own. So far, she has 10 babies across the world born from her donated eggs.
We know that you like
And then the minute we met Tracy, it just clicked. I don't know what it was.
She sort of stood out that she was willing to share her family with us, and, you know, apart from the fact that she was gorgeous and, you know, visually, she looked very attractive.
Actually, when I first walked in the room and I saw them both, I thought, oh my God, they're so cute. Oh, look, they're really cute. And we just clicked right away. Started talking as if nobody else was in the room. I have many gay and lesbian friends. I have one gay friend who I've known since I was 10. And I had always told him, if you ever wanted kids, I would do it for you. No problem. Excuse me. So I thought, well, you know, what better opportunity to help a gay couple, because really their only opportunity out there is for adoption. And that shouldn't be their only choice because of their lifestyle. I think it's ludicrous.
Tracy and Rosalind and their families have come to Europe on holidays, with Barrie and Tony footing the bill. They want both women to be godmothers to Aspen and Saffron.
They're part of our extended family now. You know, one of them's the birth mother and one of them's the biological mother, and I think it's really important for our children not having the mother role in our household, to know that there has been a mother role somewhere along the process of them coming into our home, you know.
Two men from Essex have won the right to be registered as the dual fathers of twins who are yet to be born. After a court decision in California, Barrie Druitt and Tony Barlow are homosexual.
Barrie and Tony have returned to England to await the birth. The groundbreaking news from California means that, contrary to British law, they will be named as the parents on their children's birth certificates.
We're the first international couple outside of the States to have this judgment go in our favour, so it's great news for us.
But they have something else to celebrate. It's Barry's 31st birthday, and Tony has bought the whole family special presents.
Oh, they're so cute, aren't
This is for Aspen. And this is for Saffron.
No.
And this is for you. I don't know whose that one is at the back. I think that one's for me. What do you reckon?
I think it's lovely. Ooh, this is nice.
Do you like it?
Oh, it's fabulous.
What do you think Aspen and Saffron are like theirs?
They were just so
Like
cool. Why did you get them?
Well, it's like one each now. I thought I'd get matching colours.
And you got one. Shit!
Two guests at the party are the nannies, Helen and Debbie. They've been hired even though there is still 6 weeks to go before the birth.
Linda had said to me that they're partners. I just presumed they're a couple that weren't married. So, they should know partners. I said, oh, I see. That was when I realised. So that made it very unusual.
You love it.
It's the same as a normal nannying job. The parents go off to work and, you look after the children. It's just exactly the same. So, just because they're gay doesn't make it any different, really.
Well, these two girls are going to be with us for the next 5+ years. So there's your two female role models. Both of them are heterosexual, I believe. I never even thought to ask. Are you both heterosexual? So we're going to get some heterosexualism thrown on our children. And I'm sure that both of these ladies are more than capable of bringing in a female role into our household. After 6 o'clock, however, I'm afraid they're just going to end up with their dads, Tony and I, and I'm sure we'll be fine. There'll be an expose on both of you soon enough in one of the Sunday racks. Yeah. Just watch where you're throwing those wine bottles, because you'll be alcoholic nannies to the gay millionaires.
Did you not read the Sunday newspapers? Take Tony and Barrie, a couple from Chelmsford, Essex. They'd been trying for a baby for some time, but nothing seemed to work. Then it occurred to them that this might be because they're both male. So they found a woman who happened to have 4 eggs lying around that she hadn't yet auctioned over the internet. You'd think 2 boys and a girl would have been enough, but they guessed they needed someone else just to even up the numbers. So they roped in another woman who happened to have a rare 9-month vacancy in her fallopian timeshare. After that, it was just a question of getting the girls in the mood. The lights down low, Sinatra on the hi-fi, the FedEx package with Barrie and Tony's beaker of commingled sperm on the coffee table, the cheque for $200,000, and they got that wrong, in the mail, and the turkey baster wandering in from the kitchen with a come-hither look in his eye. I thought these people are more intelligent than what they've got. I really would.
Sticks and stones.
It's very true. And we'll bring our kids up in the same way.
Being really heterophobic.
Some of the comments you've come out with.
Well, that's what people think. Oh, they're going to grow up hating women and hating men. Oh, God.
If they come to us and say they're straight, then great, as far as we're concerned. It's a lot easier to be straight than gay, isn't it? So, there'd be nothing better for me than my 15-year-old son coming to me telling me he's straight. But if he comes to me and tells me he's gay, then so what? Great. At least he'll be more liberal than most people growing up. And it's about accepting people for what they are, isn't it? And that's what we'll bring up our children like.
There are still 5 weeks to go before Rosalind is expected to give birth, but there's growing concern that the twins might come early. Barrie is flying up with the nannies to be with her. Tony will stay behind to look after the business.
For 11 years we've lived in each other's pockets. Some people say it can't work when you're always together, and for some people it doesn't, does it? But we've just always been, we eat together, we sleep together, we work together. Most of the days we drive to work together. We go home together. Everything we do, we just do together. And the longest we've ever been apart has been like a couple of days, and that's been bad enough. So 3 weeks is going to be a long time. We keep saying to each other now, it's like the last couple of days that we're ever going to be on our own, because our whole life is going to change.
Thank you. Come on, girls.
I feel like there's only half of it when Barry's not around. So you've not seen me cry. I'm going to start crying now on the camera. I understand why he's doing it. I don't want him to go, but one of us has to go. So it's going to be a nightmare.
There was always a danger that Tony would miss the birth of his children, but when he finally arrives in California, there's still a lot more waiting to put up with.
I'm so fed up of waiting now. I'm so fed up of waiting. I'm sure the maids in the hotel think we're having this sort of like delusion of grandeur or something, because every time we walk into the hotel we're like packing all these new baby stuff, and they're like, okay, we've seen you building up for 5 weeks now, this whole room full of baby stuff, where the hell are the babies? Then we shut the curtains, they probably think those two crazy English fellas are dressing up in babies' clothes and doing all sorts of stuff.
Don't wrestle on my bed though, because it hurts my tummy really bad. You'll give me a contraction, which will make everybody really happy.
Maybe we should just pop round, what do you reckon?
Sounds good.
How are you feeling?
I don't feel very good right now.
No.
It's coming real quick.
Is it? Really?
Ask them how they're feeling.
I'm just about to. How are you feeling?
Nervous.
Yeah, you're gonna have
You're so calm, Ross. No. You're so experienced.
I've done this before.
Oh.
My hands are going cold.
I remember how we started with this whole process, and I remember being in the bathroom of a medical centre with 5 nursing staff and an embryologist waiting right outside the door for me to produce a vial of sperm. You know, and that in itself... Yeah, and Tony in the room next to me providing a vial of sperm. I remember walking out and giving them to this embryologist who had 26 eggs in a petri dish waiting for their spun down mates to arrive, and after the sperm had been washed and spun and separated and buffed up a bit, it was then introduced to their date.
Rosalind had always planned to have the babies naturally, but her doctor decides the twins must be born by caesarean section. For Barrie and Tony, this is the moment in which they had invested so much time, money, and emotional energy.
I can't believe they were both in that bump, can you? So
It wasn't anything to do with us.
It wasn't
just
real.
Like watching something, and that was it.
yeah, it just like it wasn't real. Even at that point. Do you understand what I mean?
Well, when did the real part kick in? When you were actually holding
When
them?
Aspen cried.
Tony's like, oh.
What did you say?
I said, will you shut up?
So fragile, you don't know how to hold him.
Then when you look at the nurses, they're quite...
I know, they just toss him around, don't they?
Give me scissors like you cut.
I shook her a bit and just went back to sleep.
3 days later, Aspen and Saffron are allowed out of hospital.
Well, we're home for the next few weeks anyway.
Barrie, Tony and the nannies return with the children to the hotel.
It's nice to be out of that hospital.
Oh, tell me about it. Feels really strange being home now, though, because it's nice in the hospital, but there's always somebody around. There's actually be here now. It's like your first, like when you've done your driving lessons and you've got the instructor on the other side, and even though you'll press the brake, his foot's always there to press it. And now suddenly it's like we're here, aren't we, on our own? Who wants the crier?
The grandparents back in England have already started trying to guess who is the biological father of the twins.
Yeah, let's leave it because we don't want to throw it just yet. It's so funny though what your parents are like. It's just so weird. Because they see the photographs in the paper today and they always try with the same line. Did you notice how Aspen had his feet curled up? I said, yes, Mum, you used to do that. Did I? I'm sure most of the population's babies curl it up. Yes, but he had his toes curled up just like you did. No, Mum, look at his nose. He's got Tony's nose. Yes, but he's got your feet. Okay, Mum, whatever. And then it's like, now Saffron's got your face. She's got your... I said, Asha? It's funny how people can see things that are not there.
That's grandparents for you.
I just want to go home now. I want to go home so bad. I'm sick of being here now. I feel like I've got what I came for. It's just time to go home.
A more serious problem has arisen, though. There are now doubts whether the twins will be allowed to stay in Britain when Barrie and Tony return home.
Because now it fucking turns out that because we're not married, we can't just walk into the UK with these kids and claim citizenship there for the babies. Oh, I don't know, because we're not married. I'm just so fucked off. I might just not even bother going back, to be honest. Fucking government. All I ever do is pay fucking taxes. They're taking off me all the time. Honestly, it's just another way to keep a minority group down, isn't it?
But if what we've heard today is right, heterosexual Joe can whiz off to Thailand, marry somebody,
and come back,
have a child with them and bring them back without any problem. We can be 2 UK citizens that pay our taxes, that live, that are law-abiding, that have been together for 11 years. And the fact that we're gay, which means that we can't get married, means that our children don't get automatic UK citizenship rights. What a load of crap.
Hi there.
How you doing?
Just fine, thank you.
Barrie and Tony have called a press conference for the next day. It's a chance to vent in public their anger over Britain's immigration rules.
See you again.
You made it. Didn't get any sleep last night, huh?
No, babies kept us up all night.
Welcome to being a parent.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Do you expect to have problems trying to bring the babies back to the UK?
Today the UK doesn't recognise our children as UK citizens.
Might you have to leave the US without the babies then?
I wouldn't leave.
So would you be willing to give up your citizenship?
For my children tomorrow. I'd give it up today. If my own country, that we're two law-abiding, respectable businessmen that have done nothing wrong, and if my own country can't accept me and Barrie and my family for that, then I'd leave it today.
Now the elation of having the twins is overshadowed by the battles which may lie ahead.
If it makes life a bit easier for people later on, then that's fabulous. We don't want to do this to be martyrs. We don't want to be blazing a trail for anybody. That's not why we're doing this. We just want to go home and spend Christmas with my mum and my dad and Tony's mum and dad and my brothers and sisters and all the kids, you know. And this year I want it to be with the inclusion of our children, you know, and I think it would be so nice to do that. But I don't think it's going to happen this year.
A week later, they're still there. The twins' first Christmas morning is in a San Francisco hotel.
Saf, Father Christmas has been.
Saffy, wake up. Nobody's excited.
I am. It's Aspen is. You going to shut them off?
Isn't that nice? It's Pooh Bear.
Oh, look. That's look.
Look, Safi diamonds! Thank you. Welcome. Oh, that's great, thank you.
The gay couple who fathered surrogate twins are facing a battle in the courts to keep them in Britain. Immigration officers at Heathrow Airport confiscated the babies' American passports and decided that...
At Heathrow, the children are given permission to stay in Britain for just 28 days. For Barrie and Tony, it's a stressful time.
You'll have to sit on there, Tony, because there's not enough room on there.
I'm getting in the middle.
No, I have to get in. There's nowhere else.
Go on.
The problem is that despite the ruling from the American courts stating that they are the parents, under British law, Rosalind, the surrogate, is the mother and her husband Chris is the father.
That was just a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. I thought they were never going to let us out.
Yeah, at one point we thought we were getting the plane out, the next plane out.
Thank you. I'm shaking, I can't even
I
hold the
feel like
sodding
that.
thing.
I don't even want to be here at the moment. Yeah.
If we don't report back by the 28th of January, then they're illegal aliens.
That was the best bit when he said to me and you and Debbie and Helen, well, don't worry, everything's okay. We're not detaining you because you're British citizens. You're free to go. It's only the children we're detaining. It's like, right, okay. You know, it makes loads of sense, doesn't it? We just leave them in the corner and head off.
Do you know what? I don't even want to wait the 28 days.
I feel the same way.
Let's just move.
I feel just the same. I don't even know I want to be here. I really don't. We'll come and visit our family whenever we want.
You know what? We can still work here if you want to still work here. It's like a 45-minute flight or 50-minute flight from Marbella.
The whole thing stinks, doesn't it?
And they want fucking capital gains tax off me. Listen, if I'm out of this country in 30 days' time, there'll be no fucking capital gains tax for anybody.
Stop that idea. And we'll be gone.
They can trap me down in Marbella. I've declared bankruptcy more than once. I'll do it again. Now, what we need to do is get in touch with the attorneys straight away. Then we need to get in touch with the American embassy straight away and let the American embassy know exactly what's going on.
Back at their home in Essex, Barry's parents are waiting.
Yeah.
Come here.
I've missed you.
No, and you.
It's the first time Veronica and Barry have seen their latest grandchildren.
Stay for a month with her.
28th of Jan. Can I do it?
Look, I'll take this one home.
I know.
Look at that. Come on. Waiting for a long time for this. Yeah, I'm hungry, look.
You're right.
Wait till you see his hair under that hat. Have you look at this?
Oh, yeah.
The whole head of it.
President of the pressure group Families Need Fathers, Trevor Barry, says the case has set an unfortunate precedent.
Children need a role model of each parent to know what the world is about.
Some of them were saying, this just isn't right at all, and gay people are not meant to breed and have children because the natural order of things is that these people are born and then they die. Gays shouldn't be breeding and all of that stuff, but at the end of the day, it's heterosexual people that are having us, not other gay people. So gay people don't necessarily breed gay people because as far as I can see, it's all you heterosexuals that are breeding us gay people.
Barrie and Tony still haven't heard from the Home Office about the future of the twins. Already, though, the children have changed their lives.
Did you get much sleep last night?
What was the night we left them in the hospital? What was the last full night's sleep?
Sleep in different rooms now.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to split the babies up overnight.
So that
I
means
usually have him overnight. Barry has her overnight.
And I'm in the guest room.
Which means that we get to spend the night together once a fortnight, maybe.
When my mum's here.
When Barry mum's here,
So
she has the
overnight.
kids.
Ooh. And we're going to see Grandma this weekend.
Yeah. Which means that we get a night's sleep.
Oh, Bonnie.
Oh. Hello, darling.
Have a nice Christmas.
Oh, Barry. Oh, good. Oh, I've got to just listen. Oh. Oh, God, I love her so much. Oh, God. Oh, can I?
There's now only a week to go before the twins' permission to stay in Britain runs out. It's the first and perhaps last chance for Tony's family to see Aspen and Saffron.
Joe, not you.
It's strange because our families and friends, the majority of them still live on council estates and that, and a lot of them have said, oh, these children are going to want for nothing and they're going to have this and they're going to have that and they're going to be so spoiled. And that's not true. I want them to still feel that, you know, what they get is because, you know, they've done well. Or in the same way Tony and I did, we didn't have everything handed to us, you know.
Yeah. People are saying they're going to have no female influence in their lives. It's like...
Oh. I don't think so. They won't think they won't be without. Sorry.
3 days before the children's immigration deadline expires, Barrie and Tony get the news they've been waiting for. The Home Secretary has allowed the twins to remain in Britain indefinitely.
Such a relief. Got to like the 25th of January, and we had until midnight on the 28th. And everybody said, oh, it'll be okay, you know, they can't possibly make them go out, and don't worry about it. And we were convincing ourselves, weren't we?
You know.
But it's still, when you're 72 hours away.
Frightening enough experience at Heathrow, wasn't it? You
Yeah.
know, and you just, after an experience like that, you just don't know what's around the corner next.
I feel like a 10-ton weight's been lifted off my head.
After the good news comes the bad. Rosalind has told a Sunday newspaper that she'd been abandoned by Barrie and Tony since the birth of the twins. After a series of financial disagreements, the relationship with the surrogate mother has slowly disintegrated.
You know, she mentioned in her article that she received an email from us saying that, you know, you are not going to be seeing these children again, and she definitely did get that email. I don't want her to ever see my children again, and that certainly will be what will be happening if I've got anything to do with it. Things happened, and we just decided, you know, with our attorneys, that it would be a good thing for us not to have anything more to do with Ross. So that's exactly what we did.
The government faces defeat in the House of Lords over Section 28, which bans promotion of homosexuality in schools. Ministers want it scrapped, but some Labour peers are expected to join... She
stinks. Is it her? I thought it was him. Might be both of them.
Smell your bum. Let me smell your bum.
In the last few months, Barrie and Tony have been sent hate mail threatening both them and the children. But they say the overwhelming public reaction to the birth of the twins has been positive.
The stigma's gone now of single-parent families, and certainly it's going with gay families.
They'll grow up knowing that they've got a dad and a daddy. And
who love them very much. Yeah. What I don't think's relevant is which one is the biological father. We knew from the beginning who was going to be the father of any children that were born. Well, actually, we both decided that one of us would be the biological father of any boys that we had, and one of us would be the biological father of any girls that we had. The consequence of that means that one of us is the biological father of one, and the other one's the biological father of the other. And that's all you get in.
It's quite obvious.
Hey! I know who the biological mother is. She'll be over here in a couple of weeks' time. And she still hasn't seen them yet. I can't believe she's not seen them yet. So happy to see you now.
How you doing?
Hi, Sarah.
Hey! Oh my God! Look at him, he's asleep. Hi! Hi! You look just like your daddy, you know that?
I feel a closeness to them in a sense that I know that, yes, they are technically a part of me, but I have a stronger bond with Barrie and Tony. Not that I don't care for the babies, but I just don't consider them mine. They're not mine to care for in that aspect. But I care for them as something that I helped create. But I just don't consider them my babies. My children are the children I raised, and to me it's like giving blood and helping to save a life. I just helped create the possibility of life.
Everybody's staring at us.
She looks just like you.
Do you reckon?
I don't see me or Sarah at all.
Oh, definitely.
I think that the way Barrie and Tony are, that they're very open and honest with their children and telling them of their beginnings and the tapestry of their life. They're the parents and they're the ones that have to decide what and when they're going to tell their children. I don't expect them to be knocking on my door when they're 18 and, you know, saying, you're my biological mother. I'm not expecting that, but the way our relationship is going, I feel that they will know who their biological mother is. And I have no problem with that.
The next day, the children will be christened at the local parish church. Tracy and her husband are godparents. But Rosalind, the surrogate mother who was intended to be a godparent as well, will not be there.
It was supposed to be a really joyous occasion, and it still will be. It's just going to be a bit of a downside that she's not actually going to be there, which is a shame, because we really wanted it to be.
It's sad the way it's turned out, but we still got one. At the end of the day, I just keep saying to Barrie, any regrets, and we haven't got any regrets at all, because if it wasn't for Ros, we wouldn't have Aspen and Saffron, so I still...
She played a huge part in the children's...
Yeah. And I won't say a bad thing about I won't be negative about her, because she did. You know, she was a good surrogate for us at the time, wasn't she?
She was.
She
was
delivered
a great
two
surrogate.
healthy children for us. And it's really, really sad that things have turned the way they have.
No Rosalind, but the children's lives are still under public scrutiny. Their christening is a symbolic recognition of their acceptance by a wider community.
There's been a lot of controversy about not only the partnership but also the way in which the children came into the world. People, of course, will have a number of views on the morality of what Barrie and Tony have chosen to do. The church, however, has a real duty to minister to people, whatever their circumstances. And that's something where, in fact, we are all levelled, really, because each one of us is a sinner in one way or another, and we all have the need of God's grace in our lives. And I would feel it was really quite disastrous for the church to be seen to be shutting its doors in the face of these children.
He was really non-judgmental and he was nice, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. He was talking about unconditional love and sins, and if you can count that what we may do is a sin, but how many other people, everybody's sinning every day of their lives, and we're all sinning all the time. That's what Jesus came. And I'm not religious, but everything he said for a non-religious person made a lot of sense to me. So.
Barrie and Tony still have 24 eggs on ice, but they're not rushing into a decision about becoming parents again.
Oh, excellent. We've got these two now. These have completely changed our view on the whole situation. And I don't know whether we're actually ready to go through it all again. We've certainly got the embryos there. We'll make a decision by the end of this year, and if we don't want to pursue surrogacy ourselves anymore, then we'll donate the embryos that we've got on ice to a couple that can't have children. Gay or straight, makes no difference. Off we go.
Cheers to the baby!
Who wants a slice? I think I need it. I feel like we're really close now, but it's a different close to the closeness we felt before, you know. I feel completely different towards Tony now. I feel like he's the father of my children, not my lover and my partner. Who wants the first piece?
We were bonded anyway, but it's a strange kind of bonding, because we always said we'd be together forever, but now it really is forever, because for the sake of these two, we could never be apart.